From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. One of the world's leading climate research institutions, the National Center for Atmospheric Research, or NCAR, has been headquartered in Boulder since the 1950s. Scientists there research everything from hurricanes and wildfires to how changing climate patterns affect our communities. NCAR's Mesa Laboratory in Boulder employs around 800 people. But in December, the Trump administration ordered the National Science Foundation, which provides funding for NCAR, to explore how it might dismantle NCAR. This has raised alarms from members of Colorado's congressional delegation, especially in light of the Trump administration's targeting of other climate research, including NOAA and the National Weather Service. Colorado Democratic Representative Joe Neguse, whose district includes Boulder, is leading efforts to keep NCAR intact and the scientists who work there in their jobs. He joined me to talk about his strategy for doing that. I wonder if you could put us in your shoes the day you first heard about this recent push to dismantle NCAR. What went through your mind in terms of losing this climate research hub in your district, along with the 800-plus jobs housed there?
I suspect I felt the same way that the vast majority of Coloradans did, which is outraged. Outraged at the Trump administration's recklessness, outraged at the way in which the administration was attempting and continues to attempt to retaliate against our great state, but also a sense of purpose immediately in engaging with my staff on my team and, of course, with my colleagues, and in particular, Senator Bennett and Senator Hickenlooper, about putting together a plan to ultimately push back on every front possible to do everything we could to save NCAR and protect NCAR. I will say, the backdrop, you articulated well the stakes with respect to the Trump administration's plan to dismantle NCAR. You also alluded to the war on science generally that this administration has been engaged in for the better part of the last 13 months, which is certainly true. We fought vigorously, for example, to protect NOAA's Office of Atmospheric Research and the cooperative institutes that are connected to NOAA. And we were successful with respect to that particular battle and securing funding for the next fiscal year. This is very different. It is a different battle because, in my view, it has nothing to do with science or the research that is performed by the incredible folks who are employed at NCAR in Boulder. It has everything to do with politics and the Trump administration's political retribution campaign against Colorado in particular.
Yeah, you mentioned retribution. The Trump administration seems to be targeting the state of Colorado. In particular, Trump has called for Tina Peters, a county clerk convicted for her role in a security breach in the Mesa County Elections Office, to be transferred out of a Colorado prison. How do you see your role in dealing with what is happening between the Trump administration and Colorado?
Well, first, let's be clear what the Trump administration is attempting to do, coercing the state of Colorado to release an individual who's incarcerated, is lawless. That is lawless behavior. It's the type of behavior that you see in third world countries and you would never expect to see here in the United States. And my job is to protect my state and to do everything I can and use every lever available to protect and defend my state. That's what I intend to do in this instance.
Well, you have brought together a bipartisan group of lawmakers to try and save NCAR. What specific actions are you and your colleagues in the House and Senate taking right now?
So our initial action, which we partnered with both of our senators on, and I'm grateful to them, to Senator Bennett and Senator Hickenlooper, for leading the charge in the Senate, was to make the case to our colleagues that an appropriations bill, specifically the Department of Commerce minibus appropriation bill, ought not proceed absent specific statutory language, a rider, so to speak, that would protect, in particular, NCAR and the funding stream from the National Science Foundation. We assembled a bipartisan coalition, 80 lawmakers in the House, in fairly short order, and made the case to the appropriators. Our Senate colleagues, as I said, both of our senators used every tool available to them to stop the appropriations bill from moving forward absent that language. Ultimately, Republicans refused, the majority, Republicans in the House and in the Senate refused to relent. My presumption is because, again, this is connected to this retaliatory campaign that the president is myopically focused on. So a National Science Foundation Dear Colleague letter was issued last week, now a week and a half ago, essentially calling on the scientific community to provide responses as to how to literally dismantle NCAR. It's outrageous. At the end of the day, my view has been use every tool, just as we did in the fight to save NOAA, just as we did in the fight to stave off the sale of our public lands. So too must we do that here in this case.
And you've also asked for Coloradans, as well as folks around the country, to submit their thoughts about the importance of NCAR during a public comment period. What are you asking people to do? And just briefly, how optimistic are you that this will help?
Well, again, what I would say, just taking a step back, is that I believe that this process that NSF has initiated has been corrupted from its inception. That is clear from the text of the Dear Colleague. This Dear Colleague letter is unlike any Dear Colleague letter that has been issued by the NSF in the past. When you think about it, the sheer lunacy of the National Science Foundation asking the scientific community as to how to dismantle the crown jewel with respect to atmospheric research in the world. It is nonsensical. And so I don't have any trust that the NSF will engage in a good faith process, because this is not a good faith process. This is the NSF doing the bidding of Donald Trump and exacting political revenge. That being said, I do think it is incredibly important, in my view, for me as a lawmaker representing the 2nd Congressional District and my colleagues to put on the record the reasons why I believe that this process is flawed, and also why on the merits what they've proposed would be deeply dangerous for our national security, undermine scientific progress in our country, and the like. So that's why we intend to do that. I have said publicly that that public comment period extends through mid-March, and that Americans should make their voices heard across the spectrum, and there's a process by which they can do that we've alerted the public to.
And just briefly, Representative Neguse, the Trump administration has dismantled USAID. It defunded public media. Do you think you can save NCAR if the administration is set on demolishing it?
I think that we cannot give up on trying, and I'm going to do every single thing I can do to save NCAR.
That's Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse talking about efforts to prevent the dissolution of NCAR in Boulder. Our conversation with the congressman turned next to his thoughts on ICE and immigration enforcement here in Colorado. We'll share that exchange with you in tomorrow's episode. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.